So I left these up here because the whip count is not going to matter for a while because Francisca is not the prosecutor because Edgeworth took over. But she did pump up the numbers again across that last day of investigation. So now we need to see if between Phoenix and Edgeworth as they boyfriend back and forth, if they can do 23 or more objections and make sure that there's more objections than there are whips. How did I get into this mess? I rather also cooking, Captain.
That's enough. You can't run forever, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What have I done wrong?
I cannot allow you to go on like this.
But I'm just a simple defense attorney.
Silence. You are no longer worthy of your title.
More curry. Tempting, but no, just steak and potatoes. I've had this dream before. Someplace, some time ago. As if this day was written into my destiny. Today I'll stand in court as a lawyer. To prove a killer innocent. I mean, that sounds yummy too. I mean, you can't go wrong with steak and potatoes. Man, that was disruptive. So as I was gonna say before, evil nightmare judge shanghaied my dialogue. Not gonna go too long tonight. I don't even think we're gonna finish out this first part of the day. Just like an hour and a half, give or take. But my goal was to kind of wrap up around 11-ish my time. We'll see. Maybe I'll be in the middle of something. I might need to go a little bit longer or stop a little bit sooner. March 23rd, 9:43 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3. Oh, see, I should have just had this playing so we could have Steel Samurai backing my dialogue. Hello. This is Phoenix, right? Oh, this is probably... You don't look so well, dude. You're gonna prove me not guilty today, right?
If you please, Mr. Lawyer. Remember, it's not just me. Your precious friend's life is riding on today's verdict, too.
So I have to ask, how did you enjoy Akane Banashi becoming a Yakuza series for a chapter? It was really nice to have a Yakuza series running in Jump. Now listen up. You'd better get on guard a guilty sentence, okay? If you get that creepy slime bag and not guilty, I'll never forgive you, ever. For those of you who don't read Shonen Jump, which is the majority of you, assuming that Scott's still around and I know you're here, Katie. Well, I guess it's 50-50 right now. That was specifically a joke because there is actually currently, supposedly, a Yakuza series running in the form of Astro Royale. But really, it's a... Do I want to be mean to it? Yeah, I want to be a little mean to it. It's a pretty creatively bankrupt, basic-ass shonen battle series instead. Otherwise, though, Akane Banashi was very good this week. I'm very curious if it's doing super extreme hot anime grandma syndrome, or if that was Urara's older female relative we saw in that. I mean, I've heard plenty of unnice things about manga y'all have read. Well, this is fair. You have been subject to a lot of that, Scott. I read that line. Maya. Uh, if I had to guess, this is probably Mia. Phoenix. Phoenix? Oh, thank God. I had a feeling. I mean, look, we learned because of checking into this that as of the the newest games in the timeline, eventually Mia can jump into Pearl's body and it not be really awkward. I mean, it's always going to be awkward, but at least eventually it's legal. Mia? Maya? How's Maya? I don't know. You don't know? She hasn't tried to channel me since yesterday. Mia, what am I supposed to do? Well, like I said, for a lawyer, the worst of times are when you have to force your biggest smiles. But you can't give up. There's still some hope left. Stop it, please. There's nothing left. Not here. Not anywhere. I think one has to wonder how that channeling is actually physically possible. I mean, I think magic just takes over. Like, there can't be an actual price to their physical body to do it, because otherwise I assume it would come up. Because, like, over the latter half of Justice for All, Mia has basically worn Pearl like a skin suit for like half the time. Urgh, it's that accursed On Guard again. Will you leave me alone? Look, don't call me anymore. I mean it. Oh, you're really mean, pal. Oh, Gumshoe! I'm really sorry. Where are you? Oh, they let me join the investigation team and we're chasing after the killer, pal. Then, you have some sort of lead? Oh, sorry, but right now we've got 0 leads on the guy. But we're not going to give up. Gumshoe. Oh, until the trial is over. Until the verdict is handed down. We're going to do everything we can and find the killer. If we can get Maya out, then you can get On Guard the guilty verdict he deserves, pal. Okay, Gumshoe, you've been in the courtroom enough times. I did not get guilty verdicts. I fail and allow guilty verdicts to happen. Edgeworth gets guilty verdicts. But there's no point in trying to get Gumshoe on semantics. You're trying to get a 5-year-old on them. That's true. I could do that if they found Maya first. You got that? So you have to do whatever you can to make the trial last longer. Have to make the trial last longer? If you go at Mr. Edgeworth with everything you've got, then you two can draw it out. Yes, this is one of the most popular lines of dialogue to be misappropriated for yaoi doujinshi. Gumshoe doesn't logic yo, he's a vibes guy. Oh, he's 100% a vibes guy. In fact, vibe is perhaps a strong word for what Gumshoe needs to act on something. Oh, now I get it. I believe in you, pal. You and Mr. Edgeworth can do it. So, believe in us. We're going to give it all we've got, just like you. Got it. Thanks, Gumshoe. Hey, Phoenix. You understand now, don't you? You have something money will never be able to buy. Nakamayo. Friendship. It's the strongest weapon in the world, and you have it in abundance. I mean, does he have it in abundance? Like, do we want to count off Phoenix's current friends? Gumshoe? In this moment, maybe. Maya, she's kind of kidnapped. Pearl, she's 8 years old and not here because her ghost aunt is possessing her. Mia, she's still technically dead, even if she's around here. Edgeworth? That's complicated, and that was even before they had their lovers' tiff. The judge? The judge can't even remember what he had for breakfast, let alone who he's on friendly terms with. Larry? I mean, Larry counts as like 2 negative friend slots right there. My point being... Yeah, look, Mia's just trying to pump Phoenix up, that's okay. Yeah. Looks like we're coming to the end. I have to make the trial last as long as I can. Gumshoe will come through. I know it. March 23rd, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 3.
Court is now in session for the trial of Matt Unger.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor.
Now, as I recall, we concluded yesterday's session with a big mystery on our hands. The mystery being what exactly was Miss Adrian Andrews' role in this murder. That is to say, is she really connected to the crime itself? Mr. Edgeworth, if you would please inform the court of today's proceedings.
Adrian Andrews. She forged evidence that threw suspicion onto Mr. Unger, and then proceeded to escape the crime scene by wearing a nickel samurai costume. I still am not quite sure what's up with her expression as she's putting this on, but whatever. The guilt of these actions are those from which she cannot escape.
And you're saying that she is guilty after all?
I'm not finished, Your Honor. Miss Andrews has nothing to do with committing the actual murder. I would like to direct the court's attention to this card.
What is that? It looks like a shell.
This is the calling card of a certain assassin.
Assassin, you say?
Yes, Juan Corrido was killed by a professional assassin. And the person who hired the assassin, his client, so to speak, is Matt Unger.
Well, what a surprising turn of events.
I would think it's become commonplace by now, Your Honor. Okay, I know that Edgeworth means the fact that it's a weird, surprising thing, but for a second, I was like, what do you mean it's commonplace for people to hire assassins to kill people? How dystopic is this freaking version of Japan/America, depending on sub or dub? I know what's going on this time, so I know that everything Edgeworth has said is true. But we still have to hold out as long as we can. At least until Maya's safe and sound. I wonder how the trial will turn out today.
Now then, please call your first. Now then, please call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth.
The prosecution calls the defendant's mentor, Mr. Will Powers, to the stand. Now then, witness, your name and occupation, please.
Okay, I'm, Will Powers. I'm a poor, underpaid action star.
And what is your relation to the defendant?
Well, I guess I'm sort of a lousy mentor to him in a way. Yeah.
Mr. Powers, please. You don't need to put yourself down so much.
Oh, sorry. Well, but I'm just kind of a nothing sort of guy.
On the night of the murder, you visited the defendant's room. Is this correct?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
But you know, I didn't actually get to see Matt when I went.
All you need to do is answer what you're asked. Now then, I would like you to please testify about when you went to Mr. Engarde's room.
Okay, sure.
I mean, waste not, want not. They put Will Powers in this court, not in this court, in this case, so might as well have him be a witness. Visit to Matt's room.
After the award ceremony, I went by myself to Matt's room. Matt was standing there in front of his room, still in his nickel samurai costume. He was talking with someone. At first, I thought it was the bellboy. I watched the two of them for a while, but then I gave up and went back. I had guests with me that night, and I couldn't make them wait for me.
Nothing sounds out of place in Mr. Powers' testimony.
And talking with the bellboy is no big deal. If one assumes that the person Mr. Engarde was speaking with was an ordinary bellboy.
What are you implying?
Well, Mr. Wright, let's have your cross-examination, shall we? Looks like we're in another sticky situation. Huh? A trap. Can't you smell it, Phoenix? But for us to find out more, we're just going to have to charge in head first, right? I mean, in his own way, Edgeworth is trying to drag this out. It's functionally not any different from how he'd act normally, but, you know, semantics. Visit to Matt's room.
After the award ceremony, I went by myself to Matt's room.
The defendant's room? Why did you go there?
Well, I'm his mentor, like a big brother sort of, and I wanted to say congrats.
What's wrong? Why did you stop?
Mr. Wright,
What is it?
you're going to try to trick me into a corner, aren't you?
Huh?
I know I'm just a poor underpaid action star, but I'm not the killer.
No one said you were, Mr. Powers?
No, please, don't trick me. Every time you do your lawyer thing, the witness suddenly turns into the bad guy.
Okay. On one hand, that is not how it works. They've always clearly been the guilty party. But on the other hand, I can't say Will Powers' concerns are invalid. It's really mean of him, though. Like, this feels like something Francisco would tell someone to do, just to get under Phoenix's skin. Every time? Witness, I will personally talk to the defense at a later time. So for now, please kindly cooperate and continue with your testimony.
Sorry.
So, you went to the defendant's room, and then?
Hey, wait a minute. When and how did I suddenly turn into the bad guy here?
Matt was standing there in front of his room, still in his nickel samurai costume.
Are you sure that was Matt Engarde?
Yeah, I'm sure. He wasn't wearing the nickel samurai mask then.
If that's the case, then he really can't be mistaken. And what was the defendant doing, standing in front of his room?
He was talking with someone. At first, I thought it was the bellboy.
At first? What do you mean by that?
Well, he was in a bellboyish uniform, and he had a bottle of juice on a tray.
Sounds like an ordinary bellboy to me.
Yeah, but I didn't think he was a normal bellboy.
And why was that?
Why did I think that, Mr. Wright?
How am I supposed to know?
Sorry, but I can't remember right now. Sorry.
I guess I'm going to have to wait patiently on this one. Okay, what was that? First I thought it was the bellboy. Okay. We're going to have to come back to this one. It's always a little bit obnoxious when they do this one where you need to press a later statement and then go back to an earlier statement, but it is what it is. There's only so many ways they can make the gameplay different.
I watched the two of them for a while, but then I gave up and went back.
You saw the two of them? The bellboy and the defendant together, correct?
Yeah, the bellboy just wanted to say congrats.
Now, while you were watching the two of them, did you notice anything strange?
You know, I did feel something weird. I think it was because Matt, well, he gave the bellboy a tip.
A tip? But that's a perfectly normal thing to do.
So, how long did you watch the two of them?
Not more than a minute or two, I think.
Don't you trick him, Chris. Look, he's not giving us much to work with. Really, we're getting tricked by Edgeworth into trying to trick him.
I had guests with me that night, and I couldn't make them wait for me.
So who are these guests you're talking about?
You guys, of course. You and Maya and Little Pearl. I thought it would be really rude since I invited you guys if I disappeared on you. So I went back to my seat pretty soon after seeing Matt in the hallway.
Oh, this is like squeezing water from a stone. It's probably pointless to press further. Do you remember this incident? Did Mr. Powers leave his seat that night? I don't remember that happening at all. I was making such a racket in her hyper state. I ended up focusing on her. I see. You're goddamn useless, Phoenix. In any case, from his story, he probably wasn't gone for very long. Alright. Let's do that for a while then. Do I have anything to present? Figurine. Credit card receipt. Because neither of those changed. I didn't get anything that like seems to indicate that. Spy camera, picture card, picture, knife, death, suicide, button, crime photo, wine glass, maybe? Probably not though. Terror case, okay, well, I pressed everything, right? Is this the same? At first? What do you mean by that? Did you press the other one again? That's what might be the case.
I didn't think he was a normal bellboy.
And why was that?
Why did I think that, Mr. Wright?
How am I supposed to know? Hey, wait a second. Actually, Mr. Powers, only a few minutes ago you stated... Okay. I'm used to, I guess, the easier ones, where they give you, like, prompt them for something. This one, I guess they're just like, once you press them all, you'll go back to it at some point. There really should be an indication, though. This feels a little bit sloppy here. Actually, Mr. Powers, only a few minutes ago you stated... Oh wait, no, it's Phoenix doing this. You know, I did feel something weird. I think it was because Matt, well, he gave the bellboy a tip. Actually, I think usually when they show the character again, I just have the character do it. Whatever. I've never claimed to be consistent. Could it be that you felt something strange about the tip-giving incident itself?
Ah, yeah, that's it. You really know your job.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor.
This bellboy. He wasn't an ordinary one, was he?
Perhaps we should let the witness tell us.
Very well. Mr. Powers, please amend your testimony.
You mean about the bellboy, right? Matt gave the bellboy a tip.
So he gave the bellboy a tip. What's so strange about that?
Oh, well, you see, Matt's not a poor penny pincher like me. I was trying to figure out how much it was because the tip really shocked me.
How much it was?
But that's when something even more surprising happened. The bellboy was putting the tip he got in his pocket, and that's when I got my first good look at the guy's face. I was really shocked.
I'm afraid I don't follow at all.
Sounds like Mr. Powers was surprised twice by this event. I wonder which of his shocking moments I should ask about. I get the feeling both of these probably won't matter enough, but... What was so shocking about the bellboy's face, Mr. Powers?
Well, he wasn't exactly a boy, more like an old gramps.
Ahem. I hope you know that's discrimination towards old men, is it?
Wow. Jeez, read the line properly, Chris.
Ahem. I hope you know that discrimination towards old men is a no-no in my court.
No, that's not what I meant at all. In the smack middle of the guy's face, there was a line of stitches. It was really obviously suspicious, so much so that I don't know what kind of dumbass you would need to be to see a man, possibly multiple times like that, and not suspect something was up.
Sorry, just not over the fact that Phoenix sees Shelly to kill her twice. Once as the bellboy, and a second time as the butler. And both the times it's like, so he's got a line of stitches down his face. I'm sure he's fine.
A line of stitches?
Yeah, and it went straight from the tippy top of his head to the bottom of his chin. Almost like if that thread snapped, all the stuff in his head would come spilling out.
That's dark and also seasonally appropriate. It's very normal. Ah, he was there at Ongard's house. He was that butler.
What is it, Mr. Wright?
Nothing, Your Honor. So that means Ongard was talking with the killer then. That fact would be exposed. Ongard would be declared guilty in a blink. Phoenix, you have to play dumb here. Pretend you don't know anything. Yes, Chief.
You sure you don't have anything you would like to say, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What did you just say, Your Honor?
Nothing, Mr. Wright. Nothing. We're just going around and around in circles. Now then, Mr. Powers, please continue with your testimony.
Okay, I think we have to do the other option too. I'm actually going to save on account of I don't remember if this has like bad endings in it. I think usually the games are pretty clear when they do stuff like that. And of course they always warn you about the health. But, you know, it doesn't hurt to be careful. It doesn't pay to be careful. No, wait, it does pay to be careful. This is the same, I'm just gonna go do it now. Let's ask about Ongard's tip. The defendant is a huge stir. He can afford to give generous tips. Wouldn't you agree?
Sure. But giving him that much was maybe a little too much, I think.
A little too much? Would you please clarify for the court about how much would you say the defendant gave to the bellboy?
Honestly, I don't know. I can't even begin to guess.
And why is that?
Because he gave the bellboy a really, really fat roll of cash.
This indicated by my last stream, I agree. Yeah, you were playing with fire. In fairness, it doesn't help that investigations, it looks like it refills your health when you finish investigations. So you lost all your health in like a testimony part that went right into an investigation that was the very final thing. But honestly, the fact you only game overed once after how low you got locked in was pretty impressive, I'd say. Also, I get that this helps provide evidence, but what kind of assassin, and for that matter, what kind of client paying the assassin would do so like an hour out from the assassination near where it's going to take place? Like, who does that? Especially because I don't remember if the killer's mentioned this yet. I think he has, and if not, it comes up more. He has a whole thing where he doesn't want his clients to be considered, like, found out for what they did. What do you mean our client would never hire an assassin? Wink. True, it's just a big tip. Which, you know, you don't always hear about it, but sometimes action stars and the like really do have big tips they can hand out for people. Wink, but in a more salacious manner. But no. Just seems really silly to me.
A really fat roll of cash.
A roll of cash? Oh, I'd like to get that.
Ah, well, how interesting. That certainly was a very generous tip, wasn't it?
A very fat roll of cash? That can hardly be called a tip, Your Honor. I'm curious if there's a Japanese phrase here that they have to work around. Because not that this isn't valid, but it does feel really weird for everyone to just be talking about a fat roll of cash. Like, it's accurate. But especially, like, it seems weird for, like, Edgeworth to say that. Like, it's definitely not fancy enough for how Edgeworth speaks. The judge is beginning to look awfully suspicious of us. Raise an objection, wait and see. The defendant is a superstar. That kind of tip is typical fare for people like him. Are you saying that all superstars are super spenders? If I could receive large rolls of cash by simply bringing people things on trays, then why on earth would I stand around here prosecuting? He's got a point. I don't even get paid, let alone rolls of cash for all my hard work. Phoenix, my dude. You clearly lawyer bad. If you can't be as successful as you are, and you are living in abject poverty. 138, 139. Well, okay. Phoenix doesn't live in poverty. He's not Gumshoe. But
Supposing that roll of cash was not a tip, then what was it?
Payment, Your Honor.
Payment?
isn't it obvious from the murder of Mr. Juan Carida?
Then the bellboy the witness saw.
Yes, he was the assassin.
Hold your horses now. Mr. Edgeworth, you don't have any proof of this, do you?
keeps ending up in these kaiji gambling games. So much hate. Lawyering is just for him to stay afloat. I mean, Phoenix does have a very kaiji protagonist-esque personality. Either as, like, a kaiji type, or just as one of the, like, main losers kaiji's also helping out in whatever gambling game he's stuck in. Have I ever been unprepared to support my claims, Your Honor? I have here the card Shelley the Killer left at the scene of the crime. Shelley the Killer. He is the person the police's special investigations team has been chasing for ages. I am certain that the person the witness saw was this very assassin, Shelley the Killer.
Really?
What's wrong, Mr. Powers?
No, nothing. Something just clicked in my head and I think I just figured something out.
Oh?
Actually, I saw that bellboy again later on that night.
What?
Mr. Powers, please testify. Tell us what you saw.
Also, I would like to point out, the judge asked Edgeworth for evidence that what that transaction was a payment, and Edgeworth presented no evidence that it was a payment. Just, you know, circumstantial evidence that would seem to indicate that's probably what it was. And because he's a prosecution, he gets away with that. But you damn well know that, like, Phoenix couldn't get away with that. He would need, like, a receipt or something. It'd be crazy. Well, actually, to be fair, you're playing an investigations game. This is really more like a protagonist versus antagonist thing. Because Edgeworth doing this exact same thing, except he's trying to find Ironguard found guilty instead of, I don't know. I guess in investigations, Will Powers would already have been accused of being the killer by Lang or whoever is Edgeworth's opponent for that. And this would be when it would come up then, and he'd be like, but where's your proof? And you'd be like, and then you'd have to figure something else out.
Mr. Powers, please testify. Tell us what you saw.
Yes, sir. Right away.
The second time.
This time, I was in that hallway because I had to go to the bathroom. And that's when that bellboy I saw earlier came out of the room. Of course, when I say room, I mean Juan Corrida's room. Now that I think about it, that bellboy did seem kinda out of place. Yeah, so he had to be the assassin. I'm sure of it. I mean...
Thank you very much. That is all we needed for now.
Huh? But I'm not done. There's still more.
Let us first establish that the bellboy was truly Mr. the Killer. Then we shall see.
So the bellboy came out of the victim's room. And if that bellboy really was the assassin, then I think the answer is fairly obvious.
That would be correct, Your Honor. Well, Mr. Wright, I believe it's your turn to entertain and make us laugh. Ha 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 ha. Is Edgeworth really helping us? Or is he also taking advantage of the fact that he knows he's winning this time to really enjoy making up for all those humiliating losses Phoenix handed him in the first game? This is no laughing matter. Look, he has to keep up appearances. Yeah, I'm sure that's what he will say, at least. As they say in court, ¿por qué no los dos?
This time, I was in that hallway because I had to go to the bathroom.
Also, welcome back, Captain. Your steak and potatoes are done? I don't know. It feels like time-wise that would be how well that would go. Yes, and consumed. Okay. Quite good. That's good to hear.
This time, I was in that hallway because I had to go to the bathroom.
Jelly. And what time was it?
Oh, well, I don't remember. The award ceremony ended around 8 p.m., right? And I went to Matt's room pretty soon after that, and then I came back. And then I went to the bathroom. So I guess maybe it was around 8:10 p.m. by that time?
You're not one for details, are you, Mr. Powers?
Shut the fuck up, Judge. Who are you to say anything like that?
Sorry. I thought I could maybe catch Matt and say my congrats.
Had to make the steak while I could. It was discounted due to upcoming expiration date. Ah. That's good though, because... Man, I haven't had steak in ages. Not that I'm like a huge steak guy. Not that I don't mind it either. But just like... It's never the thing I would go for. But also with the like way prices have gone up and everything. Tonight was really simple. Just did like breakfast stuff, made a little bit of toast, made some scrambled eggs, heated up some Canadian bacon we had.
And that's when that bellboy I saw earlier came out of the room.
Are you sure it was the same bellboy?
Yeah.
And how could you tell? All the bellboys wear the same uniform after all.
But you see, well, he had those stitches in his face.
Ugh.
So I'm sure it's the same guy that was talking with Matt.
So which room did the bellboy come out of? I prefer chicken most of the time, but sometimes the mood strikes me for cow. That's fair. I actually tend to pretty, like... If I was left to my own devices, I would probably go with mostly chicken. Myself. But since I'm usually the one who picks out meals for a family, usually it ends up being like, I'll vary it up. Usually try to hit chicken, cow, and pig at least once per week.
Of course, when I say room, I mean Juan Corrida's room.
The victim's room, huh?
Yeah, the one with all the really pretty flowers and teddy bears. It was Juan's room, all right.
Words cannot describe how screwed I am. Let's continue with the testimony, shall we?
Now that I think about it, that bellboy did seem kinda out of place.
So what exactly was so out of place about him? Right. Why the insipid grin? Maybe because I have no idea what damaging thing he's going to say next.
Well, the bellboy was empty-handed.
Empty-handed?
That bellboy was one of those room service people, right? But he wasn't pushing a cart, and he wasn't holding a tray either. You'd call that a little strange too, wouldn't you?
I agree that it is a bit strange, Mr. Powers.
But is it really that unusual for a bellboy to be empty-handed? What should I do? Should I let Mr. Powers' testimony slide, or let it slide, try to pull a fast one? Let's let it slide for now, we'll come back to this. You're right. I think it's pretty unusual too.
I thought you might think so.
There's no need to say anything. The defense gives up without a fight. Let's move on.
Anyways, Mr. Powers, you thought the bellboy was a little suspicious, correct?
Absolutely. Although, absolutely.
That's kind of a little bit hard to do. That works out better in writing than it does in saying it.
Yeah, so he had to be the assassin. I'm sure of it.
Did? No, okay. Please don't be so quick to judge.
But it's kind of a Powers family thing. Think of every person as a thief.
Well, I guess a thief and an assassin are both sneaky and silent. Also, thief and then assassin are both the beginner and then adept archetypes in that archetype tree. And no, I won't go into metaphor refantasio stuff. That's not the point, Phoenix. In any case, if that bellboy was the assassin, it would be very bad for us. But he really is the assassin, you know? Yes, but you can't give in yet. If you want to prolong this trial for as long as possible, you're going to have to pull some cheap tricks on this one. Poor Will Powers. He even asked us not to trick him. But we really have no other choice. Alright, let's try to pull a fast one. There is nothing strange or unusual about an empty-handed bellboy.
But there really, really is.
There really, really isn't. If you two are done being school children, bellboys are for room service. There is no reason for them to be empty-handed ever. Your Honor, I ask that the witness's previous statement be supplanted with this new one. Grr, Edgeworth, are you going to do whatever you can to make the bellboy look suspicious?
I see. Very well. This court recognizes and grants the prosecution's request. Mr. Powers, if you could amend your testimony, please.
Yes, sir.
Alright, let me not forget to put this objection counter on the board. 139 goes to 140. Aw, Francisca, we're creeping up on your whip counter. Oh, whoops, that was the wrong way of doing that.
I thought it was kinda strange for a bellboy to come out of a guest's room empty-handed.
So you're saying that it's suspicious for him to be empty-handed?
Yeah, really suspicious. I mean, when I first saw that bellboy, he was holding a tray in his hand, and there was a bottle of juice and a wine glass on it.
Juice? What kind of juice was it?
I'm pretty sure it was tomato juice.
If we could come up with some sort of reason as to why he would come out empty-handed, some sort of proof, then I think we can dodge the bullet on this one for now. It was blood. Proof, huh? Sounds like another job for the court record. Okay. I mean, it's gotta be the wine glass, right? Or, oh wait, is it the crime photo? Maybe it's the crime photo? It's filled with tomato juice. But this has the picture of the bottle in it too. It was kind of strange for Bellboy to come out of a guest room empty-handed. Eh? Okay. Also, this is a very weak thing to object on, but again, the whole point of this is that Phoenix is desperately just trying to buy time. Mr. Powers,
Yes?
You're easily influenced by other people's words, aren't you? As soon as you heard that the bellboy might have been the killer, you got caught up in believing it must be true.
But isn't he really suspicious? He's got all those stitches and
So, a baseball has stitches. Phoenix? What? As we all know, baseballs can't be assassins. Ergo. Thank you, Scott. I think that's a very fair response. Like, I know the whole point of the story moment here is that Phoenix is desperately flailing. But even by those standards, if a baseball can be hit, you must acquit. Are you saying all baseballs are suspicious because they have stitches?
well, there's also what about him being empty-handed?
I would like to ask the court to please take a look here.
This is the crime scene?
There is a wine glass sitting next to Mr. Kurita's body. The liquid inside this glass is tomato juice. And now, if you would look at what is on top of the table in the lower right corner here, anyone can clearly see that it is a tray with a bottle of tomato juice on it. The bellboy had just brought this to Mr. Kurita's room. He left the tray in the room, which is why he was empty-handed when he left.
Oh, but that would mean that the bellboy had seen and left a dead body in the room.
Ah, but can you prove that Mr. Kurita was already dead at that time?
Mr. Edgeworth,
Yes.
I blame you for leading me down this route.
I'm terribly sorry. What is with him? Why is he laughing? A witness, isn't there one more thing you would like to share with us?
What is there?
The bellboy was empty-handed, or should I say, empty-handed. I recall you had something interesting to say about his hands.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot.
Huh? What?
That bellboy, he was wearing gloves.
Gloves?
Yeah, pitch black leather ones. All the other bellboys don't wear gloves like that, right?
Black leather gloves. Why didn't you mention them earlier?
Sorry, it slipped my mind.
Boy, does this make the bellboy look really suspicious. Alright, gotta focus. I can't get lax here. So what if he had gloves? A lot of bellboys wear gloves.
Oh, come on, Mr. Wright. That bellboy was wearing black leather ones.
So? A football is made of leather. Are you saying all footballs are suspicious because they are made of leather?
But that man, he received a large roll of cash from the defendant. And then he was seen leaving the crime scene wearing black leather gloves.
Being right, I thought you were a seasoned lawyer. Look. You're devolving into different levels of logic. Phoenix feels guilty that he's trying to defend a guilty client. He is not on top of his game right now. Now, why, when he's not on top of his game, he defaults to being on top of sports ball games instead? I don't know.
I don't think that even someone like myself can believe he was just another bellboy.
It seems that we have finally come to an understanding. And now then, witness, please continue with the rest of your testimony.
The rest?
Oh, yes. Please tell us more.
Okay.
Their second meeting.
After leaving Juan's room, the bellboy went and knocked on Matt's door, just like that. He gave something to the person inside the room. Then the old guy just left, without even going into the room. After that, I went to the bathroom and then back to my seat.
Well, it makes me wonder what those arguments are in Japanese. I mean, it could be the same. It could just be when they said football. Although, I mean, a soccer ball is not actually... I mean, I guess maybe they were originally made with leather? They're being in baseball in Japan, it's true. I don't know, actually, but... Yeah, assume the second one is different. Exactly. What else uses leather? I don't know. That one's a little bit complicated. If anything, it might be easier to have that dumb thing in. Maybe it was completely different, and they made the entire thing a sports analogy because it was more like Japanese-centric in the original. I don't know.
So the bellboy, after leaving the crime scene, next went to the defendant's room.
Yeah, I kinda saw all that by accident.
Some accident? I'd say you saw too much. And all of it was suspicious to high heaven.
I think it's safe to say that we can no longer consider this bellboy to be normal. Now then, let's get started, shall we? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, the second meeting. It really is funny. Because for this to work, like, because Shelly the Killer is meant to be like the third in the line. Like, he's a major assassin. He's supposed to be skilled and good at his job. And yet, so far, he's obviously received payment from the client at the future scene of the crime. He's gone to meet the client afterwards to provide more evidence for that. And he didn't even notice either time that he was being observed by Will freaking Powers here. Now, admittedly, I think there's a possibility that when people aren't paying attention to him, Will Powers might have a Kellum from Fire Emblem Awakening-esque ability to fade into the background. But even then, Shelly the Killer is meant to be a trained professional assassin. I could see that. It's the only way I can make this make sense in my brain. That and, you know, most mysteries, even when well written, they kind of, you know, professional does not equal good. You know, Will Powers is the Tony Hawk of this world, where he looks like everyone else except Tony Hawk. Oh, he very well could be. And, you know, this is fair. We've seen that the average quality of police is pretty low in this world. So it's very likely you could actually have a long, fruitful career without being caught.
After leaving Juan's room, the bellboy went and knocked on Matt's door just like that.
Is that what you saw while you were busy spying?
Excuse me? I may be a poor underpaid action star, but even I wouldn't stoop to spying.
Well, I think the point is, where did you watch all this from, Mr. Powers?
Oh, from the door of the bathroom with my left eye in a sort of sneaky spy-like.
I knew he was spying. Please, does it really matter if he was doing it over or underhandedly? What did the bellboy do next? That's all I care to know.
He gave something to the person inside the room.
I said, hold it.
Okay.
That's better. What kind of statement is that? Please elaborate and give us a few more details.
Oh, okay.
I should probably ask him only one question at a time. Ask about the person inside. Ask about this something. Don't ask anything. Okay, I'm gonna assume something gives us something, so I'm gonna assume something gives us something. You know what I mean. I assume it will give us a statement that is making progress. So for now, we'll ask about the person inside. This could be like the earlier moment though, and we might need to ask with both anyways. So who took this something the bellboy handed off?
Actually, I don't know.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, but I only saw the person's arm.
Only an arm?
Then you're saying you didn't see the person's face?
Yeah.
Well, it was Mr. Unguard's room, correct? So it could have only been Mr. Ungard himself, I'd say.
And then, what did the bellboy do after that?
Oh, so after he gave the person inside the room the thing, then the old guy just left without even going into the room.
Where did this bellboy go after he left Mr. Ongard's room?
He opened the door to Viola Hall, went in there, and who knows after that, right?
I do.
After that, I went to the bathroom and then back to my seat.
Did you see anything strange, suspicious, or just out of the ordinary at that time?
Oh yeah, I saw that one thing.
What? You saw something else?
There was this jittery alien with a ray gun. It was watching Juan's door like some sort of stalker.
I think we can forget about the alien. If there is a god, Wendy Oldbag will never show up in this game series after this.
Wendy Oldbag would then continue to show up in this game series after this.
Well, Mr. Power's testimony just now was just as vague as his first. It's a little troublesome, isn't it? But I'm sure if you press him enough, everything will become clearer. Although, that just makes it harder on us, doesn't it? Ugh, talk about a lose-lose situation. I mean the investigation game, sadly, lol. Yeah. Man, I forgot until going through it again. Because I went through that because I was impatient for getting through that and then getting to the second one. But the fact that the third case of investigations wombo combos you with having Mike Meekins and Wendy Oldbag in the same case, almost back to back, it's pretty brutal. Alright, so we need to go to this one. Kill my voice, that's for sure. Meekins is... Because old person voice is also kind of rough. But especially Meekins, you want to go like kind of awkward and up here and stuff. Because you want to sound like your voice is breaking. Because Meekins looks like he would have an adolescent voice even when he's in his 30s or 40s. And yeah, that will just kill you. Ask about this something. He gave something to this person?
Yeah.
I think I already mentioned it when I did him in the fifth case in the first game. But he definitely makes me think of the voice that Nick and Quinn give Gakuro from New Sexorcist and Weekly Manga Recap. Exactly that level of just like utterably off, like just the worst kind of loser.
Yeah.
Now, what was this something?
If I remembered what it was, I wouldn't be calling it a something, would I?
But this implies that something was removed from the scene of the crime. Are you sure you really can't remember, Mr. Powers?
I think it was something kinda small.
I would like to summarize the testimony up to this point, if you don't mind. When the bellboy left the crime scene, he immediately went to the defendant's room. There, he handed a small item of some sort to the person inside. As for the person who received the item, all you could see was the person's arm.
Yes, it was just like that.
Mr. Edgeworth, is all this really that important?
Of course, Your Honor. I think this is of the utmost importance. This is when whatever was removed from the crime scene was handed over to the client.
Mr. Powers, please, try to remember what it was the bellboy handed off.
Well, let's see. I think it was... no.
If you remember, please add it to your testimony.
Yes, sir. If I saw it again, I could say for sure, but I think it was some sort of wooden statue.
A statue?
Yeah, it kinda looked like one, I guess. If I saw the actual thing again, I'd probably remember, you know?
Looks like for this trial to proceed, I'm going to have to come up with whatever this statue thing is and show it to him. Damn you, Twitch! Hey, Darth. Yeah, it looks like Twitch was late with your notification by about almost 70 minutes. But you're here for at least the tail end of this, because this is one of those days I start early, so I'm going to wrap up really early. You're going to have to trust your instinct on this one and take a chance, Phoenix. There's literally only one piece of evidence in the court record that seems even close to being a wooden statue.
Well, Mr. Powers, let's continue with your testimony. What did the bellboy do after that?
Like, I guess technically the guitar case, if you really stretched it, but that seems highly unlikely. So it really is only just a figurine. A wooden bear-shaped figurine. It's covered in many thin cuts. Man, this first part of this trial day, though, is really straightforward. Yes, I marked that objection. What was the point of that pregnant pause?
Where did that objection come from? Well, speak up.
It was me, Your Honor. What is it, Phoenix? I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen once I show this.
Mr. Wright, if you have something to say, please spit it out.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, Phoenix, deep breath. Mr. Powers, the something you saw. Was it this item?
Oh, hey, that's it. That's the something. Wow, Mr. Wright, you really figured it out.
I recall We found this at Matt Onguard's mansion.
At the defendant's house?
Well, this is not looking good for us, is it?
What does this mean?
It's simple, Your Honor. Shelley the killer assassinated Juan Carita in his room. And then he stole this wooden bear from the scene of the crime.
Then, the bear being found at Mr. Onguard's mansion would mean...
It goes without saying, Your Honor. Mr. Matt Onguard is the killer's client.
Order. I said order. Mr. Wright, this is a most unfortunate turn of events for you.
Yeah. Sorry, Mia. No, it's all right. Your judgment was sound. Actually, I figured the bear would come up. If not now, then it would have later on. Even if you hadn't shown it to the court, I'm sure your friend Edgeworth would have. Ah, I almost forgot that he knew about it too.
I think it is clear that there is no need for us to continue this trial.
I can't let this happen. I have to do something. There has to be something we've overlooked. Your Honor, a minute, please.
Yes, Mr. Wright?
There are still a few points left that we have not fully explored. What are you trying to pull?
No. Well, we can't have that. All right, Mr. Wright. What questionable point would you like to explore further?
Powers' testimony. The person who received the bear. The bear itself. I mean, it's probably the bear itself, right? Put bear on stand. Oh, that's a good point. I think it's fairly obvious that the bear itself is very questionable.
The bear? Mr. Wright.
This was found at Mr. Onguard's mansion. Who received the bear? I think it's because we're definitely assuming it was Matt Onguard right now. However, Mr. Onguard was arrested at the hotel that night, which means that since the murder occurred, he has not had a chance to go home. Oh. Okay, you know what? Would that have... Because it gave me health for that. Like, it said it would take away health. But that sounds like... That sounds like who received the bear, actually. So does that one only penalize you if you say you need to go for more of Willpower's testimony, maybe?
Whoa.
I think Your Honor has already figured out what I'm trying to say. It is not possible that it was Mr. Onguard who took this bear to his mansion.
Why, that's very true. We didn't consider that point, Mr. Wright. There was no way, time-wise, for the defendant to have taken this bear home.
Disaster averted once more. Edgeworth, you son of a bitch. You haven't gotten the best of me yet, Mr. Wright. Edgeworth, you're supposed to be helping me keep this trial going. Huh? I remember it clear as day. I remember what you muttered to yourself at Onguard's mansion. We have this area completely surrounded. There is no way for him to escape. Okay. I can't believe it. That butler, all this time he was the killer. The killer and Angard were working together, so to speak. And the killer was hiding at Angard Mansion as its butler. What a bold move. The bear figurine was brought back to Angard Mansion by the killer himself. Yo, I forgot that the Nickel Samurai has like a prosthetic arm. That looks weirdly kind of dope, reaching for it with that one. When it looked like he was about to be arrested, Angard had him do so. I assume because it would have been bad had the police found it during their investigation. Well, Mr. Wright, you've been quiet for a while now. This is too much. Isn't there anything I can attack at all? I have to try. I have to find something else.
What will you do now, Mr. Wright? Do you plan to?
I plan to expose a clearly shaky place in Mr. Powers' testimony.
What? There is still another one?
There is indeed, Your Honor, and it's quite a questionable point. What are you trying to pull?
Oh, well, we can't have that. All right, Mr. Wright. What questionable point would you like to explore further?
Oh. Put bear on stand. Okay, wait a second. I guess now you can pick the second option. I guess so? Because it makes no sense to, like... Because Phoenix just said, let's pick something out from his testimony. So it can't be picking Powers' testimony. I already picked the bear. This is so weird. I wonder if this one even hurts you or if it's just... There was one thing in Mr. Powers' testimony that was very unclear, and that is the identity of the person who received the bear.
He gave something to the person inside the room. I'm sorry, but I only saw the person's arm.
As long as we don't know who it was that took the bear, we can't be sure of... Oh... This is one of those fun things that you can only do in like a text-based game. Because like, I mean, I guess the idea is if you were like shooting this or something, you would just pan the camera around and you just still frame on them looking confused for a second. But just it works better when it can be like dialogue box is just ellipses question mark, ellipses question mark, ellipses question mark. Lots of ellipses question mark.
What is it, Mr. Powers? If you're going to scream like that, but at least give us a good reason why.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Actually, so, I remembered. I remembered who took the bear.
What?
Really?
I mean, I only saw his arm. But the arm. It was the Nickel Samurai's arm. I swear it.
You've got to be kidding. Are you sure of that, Mr. Powers?
Yeah, I'm sure it was the Nickel Samurai.
Phoenix is so done with this. He's like, come on, I just need a break.
Order, order. It looks like you've dug your own grave. Yet again.
How many times is that today? I've lost count. So the person who took in this little bear was the Nickel Samurai. And, as we all know, Matt Angard is the Nickel Samurai. Phoenix right, defending a person who did it sucks. I mean, to be clear, in every actual regard, This is not functionally different from defending an innocent person. Like, that's the kind of really... That's the art of all the other cases, where it always seems like there's such a preponderance of evidence against you. Here, it just happens to be the case that actually, for once, it's because Matt Ungard is guilty.
Back to the defense. We've made that all the clearer. I think we've heard enough. We now know why this bear figurine was at the defendant's mansion, as well as who it was that received the bear from the assassin in his room. Everything has become very clear. The client who hired the assassin to commit the murder was Mr. Matt Ungard. I see no reason for this trial to continue. Therefore, I will now hand down my verdict.
Thank you, Your Honor, for your understanding. You see, Mr. Wright, you could not win against the truth, could you? I knew it would turn out this way. After all, what Edgeworth has stated is the truth.
Any last objections, Mr. Wright?
Well, do I? What should I do? Like, if Manchlet had said nothing, Phoenix Wright probably would have just defended him unaware. Honestly, yes. Like, I do think this is a good case. And its writing is still pretty good. I think the way you make this work out really well is that first day, you have Maya just say, Phoenix, there's no way Matt Ungard's the one who did it. Defend him. And have Matt just take him on. And then over the course of that first day, Phoenix begins to discover it. And then the trial has to end for whatever reason. And then on the second day, that is when they actually kidnap Maya. Now, that seems so obvious to me that I assume in the process of writing it, maybe part of that didn't work out. They didn't like how that worked. But also, you know, maybe that's just not the way that Shu Takumi thought of it, and he didn't like the idea of that, and he preferred it this way. It is still his story to write. I just think it would be more elegant if it wasn't, like, right away Phoenix was compromised. I feel like it undoes, to a degree, the important character building work this does for him, which makes me sad. Well, do I? What should I do? Hear the verdict? No, raise an objection. I don't think it matters either way, but...
I will now announce my verdict.
There is only one way for me to drag this trial out. You have to object, otherwise Francisco wins. The only thing I have left is this one dirty trick. Your Honor, right now, we have these two reasons to believe my client is the assassin's client. Reason number one, he accepted the bear figurine from the assassin. Reason number two, that very same figurine was found at Ungard Mansion. However, it's possible this is all the work of a certain other person.
What are you saying?
What I am saying is, it's possible a different person is the killer's real client.
The real client?
Yes. Is this all you have?
Now then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your theory. Who do you say is the killer's real client, and therefore the real murderer?
Well, this is where he blames me. This is where he blames me.
The bear. Man, it feels bad doing this. It was actually Franziska von Kerma. I am so sorry, Adrian Andrews. But, like, Phoenix has to play the cards he has, and he only really has you. Although, what if we said it was old bag? Oh, no way it would work. Never get her falsely imprisoned for murder, unfortunately.
Adrian Andrews?
Yes. We already know that she tried to frame Matt Engard for the crime. By wearing a spare nickel samurai costume. It was me, Judge. It was me all along.
Oh, then the nickel samurai's arm that I saw.
That could have very well been Miss Andrews.
But what about Mr. Engard?
If you would please recall yesterday's testimony. The defendant was taking a nap during the break period.
That's right. Then, why did this figure at Mr. Engard's mansion?
It was a well-laid trap set by Miss Andrews.
Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion on this?
I can't even begin to count the flaws in the defense's logic. Besides which, there is no evidence to support it. However, I can't fully discount its possibility either.
What is with this child? Come on, anyone can tell Angar did it.
I can't believe the defense would go so far as to pin the guilt onto someone else.
Yeah, unbelievable! It's not something petty, it's murder of all things! This is to save Maya. This is to save Maya. Even if the whole world turns against me, this is one fight I can't give up on.
Order. 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 All disruptive parties will be forced to leave the courtroom.
Your Honor, for the benefit of the defense, I'm willing to play along with his what-if game.
His what-if game, Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution is prepared to challenge the defense's theory. Mr. Wright, even you must have thought it strange and wondered. Why would the criminal want this little wooden bear? He's right. The killer did specially bring that bear to Engard right away. Why do you ask? Is there something special about it? Absolutely. And I'm sure that once the court knows its significance, the true killer's identity will become crystal clear. Your Honor, the prosecution calls upon a witness who will clear all doubts against Miss Andrews. Phoenix, actually, I just wanted to know why a bear is wearing pants.
And who would that be?
It's quite simple, Your Honor. Miss Adrian Andrews herself.
I see. Well then, the court will take a short 10-minute recess. The prosecution will prepare its witness at that time.
Yes, Your Honor. March 23rd, 11:54 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Do I do... Okay. I feel like this is only going to be like a short, like, only a few minutes scene, and then we'll go back to the courtroom. But I feel like, in terms of cutoff point, it's either this or after this little scene. This one's probably the better one, because we'll have, like, whatever this tiny interlude will be to lead into what I assume is going to be basically the second half of the first trial period. So, oh, I need to actually get off this, though. Okay. March 23rd, 11:54 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Alright, well, we'll get this out on Matt Engard's freaking smug face. I think this is a better place to call it. I think. It might be a mistake next time. We'll see. But I said it was going to be about an hour and a half, and it's about exactly an hour and a half. It'll be a little bit shorter once I cut off the bullshit time, but that happens. Well, thank you for hanging out with me. As I said, short, but I need to be up kind of early the next couple days. But I wanted to get this in. We'll at least finish the first half. It really bums me out because I wanted to finish this case this week. I don't think it's going to happen, though. But yeah, good night, everyone. Until next time, you all rest well as well. Bye for now.